Alright, so my new filter came in today. It's a little noisier than I would like. But the water flow is one of the very few things that can easily be fixed. Because right now it's a little bit too powerful. Personally, I wish the pump was a little I wish this thing was a little less quiet, was more quiet, but for $10 off Amazon, what do you expect? So like I thought, the filter system's too powerful for my beta. So I'm actually going to try something a little different. I'm actually going to use one of these little hair bun pieces that are made out of like a sponge material. And I'm actually going to use that to lessen the flow rate. And I'm going to record this, and I'm going to also upload this to YouTube and see what happens. So of course, first thing I did was actually remove the little, there it goes. First thing I did is I removed the little sponge inliner. Now I'm going to go out and wash this thing, make sure it's nice and clean, and be right back. Alright, so that is now done. Now I'm going to unplug it. Yeah, that thing makes a lot of noise. I might end up getting a different one because this one's just so noisy. Dude, are you trying to dig your way out there, buddy? Alright, here's the fill nozzle. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to cut this to a different size so it can fit in there but not restrict the water too much. So I'm probably going to cut it about like half or so. Excuse me. And then just jam the whole thing in there. Oops. Basically, I want to jam it in there to where it's going to cut off like a certain amount of the water flow. Like as you can tell, still water still can get through it, but not as much like it used to. So there, I've restricted the water flow quite a bit. It's still going to be enough to let the pump actually work like it's supposed to, but it's also going to stop a lot of the water flow, so the flow rate won't be too much. It also acts like an extra filter system because it'll be like a pre-filter. Unfortunately, this thing did not come with a pre-filter, so that's another reason why I'm sticking that in there. Because I don't want my beta getting sucked to the little intake. Okay. My cable's going stupid. Oh wait, that's the soldering iron, derp. Sorry about that. I got too many cables in my room. Boom, just like that. I've changed the flow rate on this filter to a very low flow without having to do that ugly bottle method. And all I used was just one half of these little spongy hair bun thingies that I washed out, cut in half, and jammed it inside the intake tube. It's actually a little more quiet too now. I'll eventually get used to this hum, but since I'm autistic, I can hear the hum a little bit more than normal people. So, like I said, I will eventually get used to the hum, but for right now, the hum is just going to drive me crazy. But I shouldn't be talking like that because I have two computers that stand to the left of me that make a lot of noise too. But still, of course, he's going to be swimming around a little bit jerky. He's going to be jerking around a little bit more because I've been using very low flow filters, and he just had this thing on for a while at very high rate, so he's going to have to get used to it. Oh yeah, that's more than sufficiently low flow. A very simple, basic, easy modification that costs no more than $1.50. And makes your filter look, and still makes your filter look nice. And it acts like a secondary pre-filter so your dang beta won't get stuck to the stinking intake tube. And I know now my beta's happy. And of course I will be monitoring the water, the heat, and everything else, making sure nothing's going weird with my betas. Because right now everything seems to be doing great. Oh wow, I made this thing under 5 minutes. So hopefully this helps someone out because the ball method does work, but it's kind of ugly. This system works, and you can get a whole pack of those little hair buns for like $1.50 at your dollar store. You just gotta make sure you wash them out and cut them in half before you stick them into the intake tubes. Alright, last update before I actually go into the editing bay and edit this video together. Now as you can tell, I've dramatically reduced the humming noise of this thing. There is still a very slight hum coming from it, but I will eventually get used to the humming. But due to me actually dampening the humming by quite a bit, I'm happy now. So all I did is I stuck a little piece of foam. You can barely see it. It's a very, very faint gray, white, yellowish look right between there and right between there. Basically there's a little piece of foam that goes from here all the way here that's keeping this part away from the actual thing, and then there's a little piece of foam bracing right here to help get rid of the humming noises. And of course I did fill up the tank a little bit more, so the humming has actually gone down quite a bit more. So all in all, with a few modifications, with the original modification you just saw in the first half of the video, and now this part of the modification which I didn't show off, but I just did it off camera, I practically made myself I finally got myself a very nice filter for my nice little 10-gallon tank. All I need to do now is get a filter that can use a low flow. That way, so I don't have to constantly use this accursed air pump to keep this tank all nice and filtered. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move Mesa, and I'm actually going to do like a whole video on that to show what I did, so I can see if I did everything correctly. I'm going to actually do a complete tank clean out on this tank.